You're all set in your plane seat when suddenly you hear that mysterious ding sound that freaks you out. And then comes another ding. Is the plane's engine on fire? Maybe it's a sign to grab a parachute and jump off the plane. The chime does have its secret meaning, and it's different depending on when you hear it. The first single ding you hear is when the plane is being taxied out. Soon after, the pilot announces that flight attendants should prepare for departure and makes the second ding. They're ready to go onto the runway. The third solo ding sounds when the plane passes the 10,000 feet mark. It tells the crew it's safe to get up and begin service. The fourth and final ding you'll hear during the flight means the plane is descending. The pilot turns it on to inform the flight attendants they've passed the 10,000 feet mark. They know they've got only several minutes to clean up and secure the service trolleys for landing. Different airlines might use different amounts of chimes that change their meaning. You can hear a single chime when a passenger calls for service, and when the cabin crew are calling one another. 3 chimes come before an important message from the pilot. The engines on a plane change their sound not because of some terrible malfunction, but to make less noise for people on the ground. After the plane takes off and reaches about 1,500 feet in the air, the pilot makes the engines quieter to save fuel and follow rules that help reduce the noise. When the plane is higher up and far away from places where noise might be a problem, the pilots make the engines louder again. This helps the plane use less fuel and helps the engines last longer. The only engine sound you must be worried about is complete silence. But even when both or all engines fail, a plane can still glide to safety. Air Transat Flight managed to make an emergency landing in the Azores in 2001 after gliding for 75 miles. That buzzing noise you hear as you get on the plane is the sound of the auxiliary power unit at work. This small jet engine helps when the main engines aren't running, like when the plane is on the ground. It powers the lights so you can see, makes the announcements from the flight attendants possible to hear, and helps keep the cabin air fresh and comfortable. It also gives air to start up the engines when it's time to take off. The barking sound you might hear on a plane is likely to be a golden retriever in the hold, but most definitely a special device that helps the plane's hydraulic systems work. Pilots often shut off one engine after landing to save fuel. The hydraulic system thinks the shutdown is a failure of a pump and gets the PTU to work. You can hear it so loudly because it's located in the belly of the plane. When your plane is speeding up on the runway to take off, you might notice a bumpy sound and feel something like thump, 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 thump. That's not a loose wheel or anything breaking. It's actually the nose wheel of the plane rolling over lights that are built into the middle of the runway. The bumps mean the plane is perfectly lined up in the middle of the runway, just as it should be. Once the front of the plane lifts off and the wheels leave the ground, you won't hear those bumps anymore. Something you probably should fear on the plane is getting stuck in the bathroom. A passenger who was traveling with his family from Salt Lake City to New Orleans was waiting in the lavatory for 35 minutes. The door got jammed mid-flight, and 2 flight attendants and another passenger couldn't open it from the outside. 20 minutes later, the pilot joined in. The passenger was trying to kick himself free from the inside as the pilot was pulling as hard as possible from his side. Finally, they succeeded. That airplane mode option you have on your phone isn't there just to annoy you. If you don't activate it while flying, your plane won't crash and it won't mess with the systems on board like they tell you. But if you're on a full plane with over 100 people and just 4 or 5 passengers ignore the warning and try to make a phone call, the pilot won't be happy. Your phone sends out radio waves when you try to make or receive a call. These radio waves can mess up the headsets the pilots are using. One pilot shared a story about how they were flying out of San Francisco, and he was getting important directions when he heard a mosquito buzzing in his ear. Nothing bad happened, but it did feel annoying and could potentially lead to trouble. You can't open your passenger window on the plane, but there's one secret window on board that opens and closes on some plane models. It's in the cockpit, on the right side of the plane. A pilot can open the window when the plane's speed is under a certain limit. In theory, they wouldn't manage to do it at cruising altitude anyway because of the huge pressure outside. So, pilots use it to breathe some fresh air while on the ground. And it also opens in emergencies for pilots to escape. Airports also have some secret features, like VIP terminals for those who can afford them. Celebrities use those to get on the flight without the regular pre-flight hassles and unwanted attention from their fans. The Los Angeles and Atlanta airports have special terminals called the Private Suite. They say it normally takes 2,200 steps from car seat to plane seat, and only 70 steps for their members. You can become one for a fee of $4,850 per year. You'll need to pay extra for every trip you take. There are private suites with bathrooms, a food service pantry, a two-person bed, and a runway view. Oh, and you got your private TSA screening and a staff of 8 people to take care of you. Newark Liberty International Airport near New York City has a VIP restaurant hidden behind an unmarked door. It's called Classified, and it's an invitation-only kind of place. Many celebrities like Lady Gaga, Madonna, and Billy Idol have all been there. You also have a chance to be invited if you often fly with United Airlines, who run the place. Once you get there, you have to look out for a host in a gray suit. You need to introduce yourself and mention that you have a reservation, and they'll guide you to the entrance. There are only 36 seats in what used to be a meeting room that was largely unused. Some airports have tunnels underneath them, and they aren't always secret. The Dulles Airport in Washington has a loop system for automated people moves that link all the terminals and concourses. The tunnel is 10 miles long and has a baggage handling system, underground tugs, utilities, pedestrian passages, and maintenance. A tunnel under LAX was built to let the airport extend without blocking the Sepulveda Boulevard. The road has 6 lanes and 6 turnouts. Denver International Airport recently got its own underground tunnel system beneath one of its runways and taxiways. The 6 tunnels will help the airport store more de-icing fluid for winter weather. Have you ever wondered what happens to the items you take out of your pockets for security control at the airport, and then just forget to take them from the tray? If it's something expensive, like phones or wallets, they'll end up in the TSA Lost and Found department. But all the coins left behind end up in catalogs and then deposited into a special TSA account. They use these funds to improve their security operations, and they provide a detailed report to Congress to show how much cash they've collected this way. In 2023, it was $1 million.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.